I'm going to do a brief introduction, and then after that, William from the Portugal Tourism Office is going to talk to us about Portugal. He'll be much more interesting than me. And then Manny's going to give you a brief description of a few tours. And then we'll send you on your way to enjoy your evening. I was saying earlier, it has been a beautiful day here in Ottawa. So we've been enjoying hot, sunny Ottawa, but we're going to talk about beautiful, sunny Portugal. There we go. Okay, so just a quick welcome. Thanks for joining us. If you have any questions, you can type them into the chat and we will try to answer them tonight. Anything that gets asked that we can't answer, we will send out an email later. The other thing that we will do is we are recording this and it will be put on our YouTube channel probably next week. It takes a while for me to clean the recordings up. So you can go back and watch it again, and anyone who misses it can see it on our YouTube channel, which has 5 subscribers. We're getting really famous. So we're OK Cycle and Adventure Tours, and we are a fully licensed travel agency, and we specialize in active vacations. Anywhere in the world that you want to go, we can take you there. We do bicycle tours all around the world. We go do bike and boat tours where your hotel room comes with you. So as you travel, your hotel room does too. We do trekking and hiking tours all over the world. And we do really cool adventure tours. I'm going to just do a very brief introduction of the team. We have Manny. Manny is the founder and the CEO. Mandy has been doing this for over 20 years. He has tons of connections all over the world. He loves to cycle, he loves to travel, and he's really passionate about traveling and cycling and the whole business. And you have me. I'm Judy. I'm the office manager. I'm also a licensed travel agent. I am Australian and English by birth, but I choose to be Canadian. I've traveled extensively around the world. I have done it with my kids. I've done it with my husband, and I love to cycle. I love to do anything outdoors. I particularly enjoy traveling in Asia. Then we've got Ross Travel. He is also a licensed travel agent. Ross is likes to visit countries all over the world. He has a passion to love and learn how other people grow, and his exploits eventually led Ross to graduate with a degree in anthropology from Syracuse University. Ross's main focus is in Western European adventure travel. And then we have Howard. Howard does all of our accounting, so Howard sends everyone their bills. Howard is passionate about travel. He's also extremely passionate about golf, so he's pretty sad at the moment. But Howard likes to travel, he likes to go on cruises, and he's a great guy. So now we're going to move on to the more interesting part of this evening, and that's tonight's speaker. Tonight's featured speaker is William Delgadio. He'll tell me if I pronounce that correctly. And he is from Tourism Portugal, and he's going to tell you all kinds of cool things about Portugal. And I'm going to pass it along to him.
There we go. Can people hear me now? Hello.
We can hear you.
How's everything? Sorry about that. Technology and I do not have a great relationship. So before I start, just to introduce myself, my name is William Delgado. I'm the director of the Portuguese National Tourist Office, based here in Toronto, but obviously I'm responsible for the entire Canadian market. I've been at this position for about 5 years now. So basically, I think I've had an opportunity to, to travel to all of the main Canadian cities and meet with companies, like yours. So this is wonderful. It's fun. It's gratifying. I've had the opportunity to be in Portugal with Manny as well. So this is great. Great news for us that there is this kind of interest in kind of restarting tourism. I think we're not going to bore each other by talking too much about the COVID situation. I think we're all just hoping for when things kind of start emerging. Portugal is, some of you might be hearing, is starting to kind of open up a little bit at a time. So there are a number of countries that they already have a bit of a safe corridor with, including the UK, starting this Monday. So we'll see how all that works out. And we're hoping that in terms of Canadians, that we, by June, that we can have Canadians, flying over to Portugal, without too much trouble. And on top of that, the European Union itself is saying that fully vaccinated Canadians and Americans can start traveling, probably within the next week or two, if, they so choose. So I think at this point, the onus, fortunately or unfortunately, is on the Canadian government. So we'll see how the situations happen in terms of the quarantines, and then we'll go from there. But I think this conversation is more one to just give a very general kind of overview about Portugal, and kind of have our sights set on. And as we were talking before we started with Judy, saying, I think fall would be a good time to start rethinking about kind of really having some Canadian travelers going over and hopefully doing this kind of activity. So if that's okay with you guys, what I will do now is just do about a 20-minute presentation. There'll be a little bit of talking about the different regions of Portugal. We'll put in a couple of different videos from the 7 key tourism regions, and then I can answer some questions, and then that's it. We'll go from there. So if that's okay with you, Judy, I'll start with the presentation.
Go for it.
Perfect. Okay, so first thing. So yes, once again, thank you so much, Manny, Judy, and your team at OK Cycle. You guys have been wonderful fans of Portugal, and I hope it continues, and that we'll have the opportunity to do a lot of work together, and frankly, opportunity to be together in Portugal in the short term. So there you go. It's not letting me turn right. All right, so just very quickly, some of this, of course, is very specific in terms of the cycling and the hiking, and which is obviously OK specialty. But just to give you, for some of you who haven't had the opportunity to go to Portugal, just to give you a bit of an idea. So obviously the most western country in Europe. Somewhat small country, of course, compared to Canada, but not the smallest country in Europe, but still a nice compact little country. There's 92,000 square kilometers. Of course, we're mentioning here, and we'll meet those islands going forward. But obviously, Madeira and the Azores, also part of Portugal. About 10.5 million people. And I think the last point is very important. A good number of Portuguese speak English and French. So you'll always have some people to kind of help you and talk with you and what have you. So even compared to some of our European counterparts in terms of linguistics, Portugal does quite well. So you'll always feel at home there. And here, this is just a little quick snapshot. So as you can see, kind of Portugal there, strategically located as a bit of a jumping off point between North America, South America, of course, with Brazil, Africa. Portugal has a number of connections to Africa as well, and you can see a number of connections there. So Portugal, even if you're thinking of doing other trips within Europe and what have you, it's always a good place to start, and it's a good efficient jumping point. All right, so there you go. Just as we were talking, this is more of a trade scenario, but just to let you know, before COVID, and we hope to recoup all of that. We had 4 airlines that traveled, that flew regularly to Portugal. So we had, well, let's start with the one who brought the most people. So we have Air Transat, We have TAP Air Portugal, which started or restarted operations out of Canada in 2017. We have our friends at Air Canada, Rouge, that started in 2014 and basically went from 3 flights a week only during the summer to, in 2019, looking at 8 weekly flights out of Toronto. And they also started a flight out of Montreal to Lisbon, and also had a flight from Toronto to Porto. So, and then we have SATA Azores that flies into Ponta Delgada as well. So as you can see, we were very, well taken care of in terms of connectivity. So we're hoping to have all this kind of restart again. I didn't put any specific timings and things here, just because, as we all know, there's such uncertainty at this point. Air Transat is basically grounded until August. Rouge is slowly going to start its leisure side of things. So TAP is flying regularly. It is the one that is flying every week out of Toronto. So we still have some connections, but as like every other country and every other airline, we're hoping things start opening up now in August, and we'll go from there. Just a little bit about our temperature. I think you've heard about this. It's a wonderful country with wonderful weather. I mean, even in winter, it's comfortable, and it's one of the reasons it apart from just adventure travel and sun and beach and cities and what have you, it is a great place to go and spend long stays, and of course, a great place to go and retire. So when you want to do all of that, keep Portugal in mind, and even trips in January and February, particularly if you're down in the south, are still spectacular in terms of weather. Here I won't talk too much. It's just to give you an idea about how easy it is to get around. I know within OK, of course, you're doing organized tours and everything's kind of taken care of, for you. But if you at some point you ever do just make it over to Portugal on your own, it is a very easy country to get around from. Lisbon to Porto, the 2 main cities. A couple of wonderful highways. You're talking about almost a little bit under 3 hours. From Lisbon to Faro and the Algarve is the same thing, 2.5 to 3 hours. So as you can see, it is quite easy to get around with, not only in terms of the the highway system, but of course a very good and modern rail system as well, if you're just going internally. All right, that's just a little bit about airports. So this is just going to be a little video to give you a taste of Portugal. So here, just a quick chat about our tourism region. So, for the purposes of promotion and just a bit of geography as well. So we divide Portugal into 7 key tourism regions. So Porto in the north, the center, Lisbon, Elentejo, Algarve, and you have Madeira, and you have the Azores. So we'll talk a little bit about each one as we go forward, but this kind of gives you a bit of a overview of our main regions and how we have set it up. So Porto in the north, I think most of you obviously think of the city of Porto, a wonderful industrial city, Portugal's second city. Some compare it, it's the Manchester of Portugal as opposed to the London-Lisbon scenario. So very, very, very industrial, some great architecture. And again, I think for Canadians, port wine, very famous. The Douro River, the wonderful wineries that you can hear about, and some of you might have had the opportunity to go and visit. Also spectacular for cycling, difficult because of the gradient and the hills, but if you're able to do it, it is a wonderful experience. So let me just give you a little video on the port. But just before I move on to the next region, if you haven't had a chance to go to the Douro Valley, you must. It is just absolutely fascinating. It's awe-inspiring. You will be absolutely amazed as to where people are growing grapes for wine on elevated mountainsides on what is schist, which is pretty much pure concrete if you're going to compare it to something. And of course, as you know, it produces some of the best wine in the world. So if you're looking for something dramatic, do keep the Douro Valley and Porto in mind. The next region is we just call it what it is, the Centro. It is the second largest region. It is a region that is it has so much diversity that it actually ends up not being famous for anything in particular, if that makes any sense. It has everything you would want from cities to history to culture. You have Coimbra, the city of Coimbra, which houses the third oldest university in the world, which was founded in 1291. You have the cities of Aveiro, which is our version of a small, Portuguese idea of what Venice is with the canals. You have Leiria with the castles. You have Fatima, for religious tourism. Obviously one of the biggest, Catholic shrines in the world with over 100,000 pilgrims, every month. So you're basically talking about a region that literally encompasses everything that Portugal has. You can go, you can go to my hometown in Portugal, which is Peniche, which is one of the best surf cities in the world. On the world surf circuit. You go to Nazaré with the world's largest surf wave. You can go to the interior. You can go to Portugal's highest point, which is the Serra da Estrela, which has a tremendous ski resort, if you can imagine, in Portugal, and it goes all the way to the Spanish border, of course. So it is a tremendous kind of jewel that still needs to be discovered more, and particularly in this new post-COVID world that we're looking at. When you look at the center, it has everything that you're going to want as well. You're going to have space. You're going to have, rural tourism. You're going to have, 16th and 17th century, baronial homes that are now available, for guests and what have you. So again, keep that region in mind if you ever do make it to Portugal. It's kind of tucked in there between Lisbon and Porto, and sometimes it gets overpassed, so to speak. But keep that in mind. So there's a little taste of the center.
Is there supposed to be sound with the videos?
Oh, you're not getting sound with them?
No.
Because I'm getting them. Hold on. That's odd. Shouldn't they have sound? Yeah. But soon it does say that they're not sounding. Can you hear sound?
No, I can't.
No. No. There's no voiceover, just music, but it's on because I can hear it. So.
Okay, well, I guess we'll have to hum.
I apologize. Okay, I apologize there. It's odd. I can hear it here nice and loud, so I have no idea why that's not transmitting. But I guess we'll just push through really quickly. The next region is Lisbon, so the capital, of course. Again, an interesting region. So not only the city of Lisbon itself, with the history, culture, gastronomy, everything you'd expect in a European capital, with history going back to the 1100s. But there's also the wonderful region around Lisbon. So we're talking about places like Cascais, Estoril, just around, talking about 20, 30 kilometers around Lisbon, you get an opportunity to see something completely different from the main city. So it is a wonderful region if you get a chance, and tying it in obviously to the cycling and to the hiking. even for a city like this, there are a number of opportunities to cycle and go on some wonderful hiking tours, even within the city itself. And then, as I say, in the outlying regions, and there we're talking about 20 to 30 minutes away, and you have world-class beaches, you have mountains. So again, the capital, the largest city, but a lot of opportunities for different kind of experiences. You imagine that 20 minutes outside of the city. So again, that's going back to what I mentioned about concentrated diversity. Everything in Portugal is a hop and a skip away. So you can have different experiences, basically within a day or two. Now, moving south, another large region, so the largest region in Portugal in terms of tourism, it's called the Alentejo. Some of you might have had the opportunity as well to have visited or heard of it. Again, in terms of size, it kind of encompasses a little region north of Lisbon all the way down to the Algarve. And a little bit like the center, it has myriad, choices as to what to do. So you're talking about a city like Évora, which, the Temple of Diana built by the Romans, in 2000 BC. It has a, fortified medieval, castle. There's a number of those kind of forts there that if you're into medieval architecture, it's just absolutely spectacular. As you can see, it is the most sparsely populated region of Portugal. It's kind of the breadbasket as well. But in terms of nature, of wellness, of cycling, hiking, boating, it has one of the largest man-made lakes in Europe as well. So anything that you're looking for in terms of adventure, you'll find it in Elentejo. It is also very famous for its spectacular wines. Great local cuisine. Again, that's the other thing. If you're a foodie in terms of Portugal, again, a small country, but the food and the dishes and the cuisine and even the style of cooking varies so much between region to region. I mean, you can have whole different concepts of food within 10 or 15 kilometers. So if you're looking at Elentejo as well now, in terms of cycling, and I think Manny will probably talk about this later, but one of the great adventures in Portugal is something called the Rota Vicentina, or the Vicentine coast, which goes, if you're looking there on the ocean side of Alentejo, it's a nature hiking, cycling kind of protected trail that is over 400 kilometers. So just think about that in terms of the kinds of adventures that you can have in, again, some of the least populated, most pristine nature-wise regions that you'll find in Europe. So again, Elentejo, everything from the interior, you're looking at wonderful cork trees, you're looking at wine, you're looking at food, you're looking at the black pig, which is actually one of the specialties of Alentejo. And then, of course, you can match it to, again, pristine beaches, much more undeveloped. So not as busy as the Algarve. So again, Alentejo, for those who are looking for a bit more of an experience, something, a little bit off the beaten path, keep Alentejo in mind. All right, now we're just going to slide right into the Algarve, which I think everybody knows, but even the Algarve has a number of different experiences that you can have. So it's, I love the sun and beach like everybody else does, but the Algarve also has a bit more of an undiscovered bent to it as well. So I apologize for the lack of sound, but I'm just going to give you a little visual on the Algarve. So this is the Alentejo one first, and we'll move on to Mhm. And we have some images from the Algarve. That's a protected, it's called the Ria Formosa. It's one of the largest protected regions in Europe, nature regions. But just a few quick words on the Algarve. Again, I think most people are familiar with it. More famous for the sun and the beaches and the golf and the great weather, of course, which is spectacular. But even within that, kind of situation, you're looking at there's more than one Algarve, so to speak. So, closer to the Spanish border, you have smaller towns, more traditional. You're looking at more expansive sandy beaches, kind of a quieter pace. When you get more towards the center around Faro, you're looking at the bigger resorts. You're looking at the Quinta do Lagos of the world and Lobos. You're looking at some of the best golf courses in the world. So there you kind of, maybe a little busier. You have to kind of find a quieter spots, pick your places here and there. And then as you go west again, it quiets down again. So from Lagos, towards Sagres, you're looking at, again, at a bit wilder type of beaches. You're looking at quieter towns, less developed. So, a bit of a different experience there. And then there's, what I call the Mountainous Algarve. So something that, a lot of people just don't even know. Not, even within Portugal, it's a whole completely different scenario. It's not beach. It's not, literal. It's literally mountainous. The food, the people, the industries, what have you, the history. So a completely different, much quieter, again, much more traditional, and you're looking at a whole completely different type of even, ecosystem, if you want to use that term. So again, even within the Algarve, a lot to choose. And the Algarve, in terms of cycling, is really, really well developed. There's at least 3 large, long, well organized, well signaled you know, 3 different routes, and I think Manny could probably tell you a bit more about that as well. But you know, you have the mountain one, you have the east, you have the east-west, kind of going a little bit kind of through the center of the Algarve. Then you have one that just hugs, you know, basically hugs the shoreline all the way from you know, all the way across, you know, the Algarve from west to east. So again, keep it in mind. I think, as I say, a lot of you know the Algarve and know people who've been to the Algarve, but you know, there's even more there to be discovered. And speaking of discovering, I think we're going to talk about a couple of regions that are still, I guess, you know, somewhat known in Canada, but I think we could probably even do a bit more, you know, of a better job in getting the message out on these 2 regions. So obviously, I'm talking about Madeira and the Azores. So as you can see, Madeira is actually closer to the African coast or to the Canary Islands than it is to mainland Portugal. When I'm asked to describe Madeira, to me, it's just basically a floating garden. Its weather is absolutely stunning. It never goes below 15 and it never goes above 25. So if you're looking for a comfortable year-round temperature, you're looking at Madeira. Dramatic vistas as well. Volcanic, with one of the oldest forests in the world, a L'Oreal forest that dates back at least 50,000 years. There's a thatched houses, a couple of really great golf courses, and that looks almost tropical. So again, Madeira, very interesting. Also very popular with cruise ships when they restart, but it is one of our main cruise ship ports. Again, also famous for Madeira wine, which some people I hope had a chance to try at some point, and has developed quite a reputation for one of the best New Year fireworks in the world. So every New Year, there's at least 10 cruise ships moored out, and Madeira puts on one of the world's best firework celebrations. So again, keep that in mind. It's a different type of tourism, a quieter tourism. Some wonderful food, wonderful wines. One of my favorite things to do in Portugal, it's a gin and tonic at Reed's. That's at sunset, Reed's Hotel. So it has a bit of a British flair as well. So it is a wonderful destination if you're looking for, again, something a little different, something a little bit quieter, even within Portugal. And our last region is the Azores. 9 islands, volcanic, right in the middle of the Atlantic, equidistant from St. John's to Lisbon. And as you know, some of you history buffs, it literally is a floating, airport, so to speak, if you want to use that term. So we can talk a bit about that a little bit. So I'll give you a little vision of Azores as well. Again, very rustic, very dramatic, volcanic, wonderful for hiking. With the hot springs, very interesting cuisine. and caving as well, which has become quite a. I'm not sure if Manny's doing that one yet, but it's become quite a popular kind of a side adventure in the Azores. All right, so I'll just. I think I've kept you guys long enough, so I'll just talk a little bit in general about Portugal. There's one or two things I wanted to talk about. Obviously our cuisine. We've spoken a little bit about wine. This is again, this is the Douro. This is it's a wonderful vineyard. I've been lucky enough to to stay at that peaked pink house there with a never-ending view. So again, if you get a chance, make it over to the Douro at some point. And here we hit on what all of you are hopefully looking forward to doing in Portugal. But again, as I spoke to Manny and Judy beforehand, I won't get into too much detail here specifically. But just to say, there's tons of choices. Every one of the regions I've mentioned have specific hiking and cycling programs and tours. So again, I'll leave that to the OK team to bring you up to date as to what they have planned for Portugal. But again, it is something that we're very happy to be promoting. It's something that we're investing quite heavily in terms of this kind of a more sustainable type of tourism. We're already doing this pre-COVID, and obviously now post-COVID, this is going to be one of the type of programs or products, so to speak, that we think Canadians will want to partake in Portugal. Outdoors, safe, expansive locations, what have you. So I think we're already going towards there in terms of Portugal, as trying to make Portugal a European leader in cycling tourism. And I think more and more we're investing even more heavily now as we go forward. So. It's just dramatic music. Again, I apologize for the lack of sound. So that map there gives you an idea of how extensive and how deep it goes into all the territory. This very quickly, there's no video for this one. This is just a fun thing. We've been kind of promoting, as you can see, we call it Portugal's Route 66. It's National Road number 2. So it totally, dissects the country from farthest northern point there in the center right down to near Lagos. And it's not a major highway. It's a road that was was built in probably in the 1800s, but in terms of how it looks now in the 50s, obviously it's modernized and it has stops and what have you. But it is not a major highway, so it kind of goes through an area of Portugal that even a lot of Portuguese don't see. Portugal, like a lot of European countries in certain ways, very weighted towards the bigger cities and off towards near the coast. So this takes you to at least 30 or 40 small towns, and each one with a bit of a story to tell. So we have a lot of fun with this. Car enthusiasts, motorcycle enthusiasts. There's one of their tours, and now we're starting to invite even cyclists. There's a lot of now amenities on the road and markings and places to stop and what have you. So again, it's be a week-long adventure, but it's a spectacular way to see probably a Portugal that at some point everything else will probably start to disappear, but you still get an opportunity to see to see Portugal from the 50s and 60s. So again, keep that in mind. I'll talk about Fado, golf. We won't spend too much time on golf. Again, Portugal, golf leader, not only in the Algarve, some spectacular world-class courses, European PGA Tour and what have you, but there's also golf in a number of other regions, particularly around the Lisbon area, and also going in, around Porto. So again, for the golfers, tons and tons of choices. So as you see there, that gives you an idea of the division as to where you can find most golf. Of course, you can see mostly is down in the Algarve. There's one or two in the Elentejo. Lisbon again, very strong, and then a little bit more up north, and then again Madeira and the Azores. In the 19th hole, of course. Of course, Portugal famous for surfing. And if you're interested in seeing a little bit of surfing, and that's it. Thank you. I think I went a little bit over my allotted time, but just wanted to give you kind of a general view of Portugal. So I hope you enjoyed. Again, I apologize for the for the lack of sound. There was no commentary at all, so it was just literally some, you missed a bit of the dramatic music. So, but thank you for listening, and Manny, thank you for inviting me, and I look forward to working with you as we restart tourism again. So, thank you.
Thank you, William. Before you go, I have a couple questions for you in the chat here. Someone asked, what's the best time of year to visit Madeira?
Well, again, to be honest, like I said, Madeira's weather varies it's a very small window. So it's, 15 to 25. But I think if it's your first time and you're, my first answer would be around New Year's, just because it's just stunning and it's fun and all that. But if you're looking at a quieter thing, I would say February, late February, March. It's when they have their flower festival. It's when, because again, Madeira is in a bit of a almost semi-tropical kind of band there. So, flowers bloom earlier. So their big flower festival and all that kind of stuff is late February, early March. And it's just beautiful. The island just looks like a spectacular garden. And again, the weather, it's never going to get like Algarve with 35 degrees, but it's also never going to get chilly either. So, but I guess if it's your first time and whatever, I would probably say, late winter would be your best bet.
Okay, and then I have one more question for you. Is Algarve warm enough for a beach vacation in winter?
No. Beach vacation. No, beach, and I love the Algarve, and when I can, my wife and I go to the Algarve every year. Beach vacation in the sense of like flip-flops and your shorts and you're going to the beach every day. No, because the Algarve is still, it's very warm and all that, but it is still, it's not even Mediterranean. It's still Atlantic, even though it's north-south. So, beach time would be from like now. So like, in the next couple of weeks, probably until the end of September. For beach vacations, I always do September. I prefer September. And they still get weather at 35, degrees and what have you. But then it's great for golf, just before Christmas. But if you're looking in winter, no, it's great for long stays. Again, the weather will be 17, 18 degrees, and around there. There'll be a few days of rain, but still pretty dry compared to other places. But in terms of like jumping in the beach and having the kids up there and all that, no, I wouldn't. It's a little too chilly in January, February. I would say, May to the end of September for pure beach. Yeah.
Super, thank you, and thank you very much, William. Much appreciated. It's nice to hear your voice and to learn some more about Portugal. We're going to do Manny's going to do a very brief overview of just a couple of the tours that we have available in Portugal. There are lots more on the website, and if you don't see what you want, we can probably find it because we have access to a lot more than we are able to publish. So I'm just going to pass it over to Manny, but I'm going to share my screen first. And he's going to talk about just a couple of the tours that we have available. Is everyone seeing a thing that says featured tours? I hope.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm going to pass it over to Manny, and he's going to talk about just 3 of the tours that we have available.
This is one of the tours that I always enjoy talking about. Porto, as was mentioned earlier by William, is really it's the second largest city in Portugal. It's right on the coast, of course, and it's got a lot of medieval aspects to it as well, with narrow streets. But it's a great place, and what we offer there is we offer a number of options specifically, and one of them, of course, is this one here, which the operator calls as a radial tour. So it's a hotel-based tour, It's basically self-guided, but you have a lot of opportunities to see a lot of different parts from this particular one, because it's not all just from Porto itself. You have to leave Porto to sort of do it. And the thing is this, it's available all year round. As was mentioned by William, the basic climate is such that it's not that cold, it's not that warm, and it's great because it's right on the Atlantic. But the thing is this is there's different choices every day from whether you get an apartment or which starts very reasonably at 450 euros per person for 7 nights, or you get 4-star or 5-star hotels that are also available, which are a little more expensive. And of course, those come with breakfast, where the apartments themselves, basically you get your own thing. But basically, it's the great thing about this is that you have extra nights if you want. The tours are relatively short. You make choices of whether you want to do them or not do them, and you do them in any order you want. And if you want to go back afterwards, you possibly can. Obviously, like all of the tours we offer, bike rentals are available. E-bikes are also available. So there's the options are there. If you're concerned about, as William suggested, some hills, certainly is not a big problem renting an e-bike from the operator. So there's lots and lots of also things, and you get GPS Garmin's that can be rented if you're worried about that. And each bike in this particular case comes with a pannier and a lock and a repair kit. So there's always backup on these things. So it's a self-guided tour, and self-guided is where typically, except here, you don't have your luggage moved because obviously you're staying in the same spot all the time. But typically it gets moved from spot to spot if you were doing self-guided. So it's great, this particular tour. It's let's say there's a lot of other tours in this particular area as well, that as such, and as you can see, there's a whole list of various things. I won't bore you on that, but that's on our website, I believe. If you have difficulty finding anything on our website, please don't be shy about emailing us a note, and we'll be more than pleased to provide you the link so you can look at it. If you have any questions, we're only too pleased to respond, of course. So that's that tour. And here we're talking about a hiking tour. So the Camino, which a lot of people have heard about, is what this is the Portuguese one. There's also other ones in Spain as well. So this is the pilgrim's route from centuries and centuries ago. And because it's a self-guided one, not you're going to get lost. There's always lots of people there. But it's the Portuguese way of St. James on foot, involves luggage transfers. So this one we're showing here is 14 days and 13 nights. There's also a 15-day one as well, 14 nights. But also ahead of time, if you think there's certain areas you want to stay longer, we just book it ahead of time. So really, the operator really knows what they're doing. They've been doing this for quite a while. And one of the problems with some of these routes is that people end up not really staying in the best places, because it's not always best. But they're comfortable beds, as you can see by the write-up, and it's really a nice way to see the countryside and speak to a lot of different people and meet lots of different people as well. So that's our hiking one of the hiking ones. We have a whole raft of other hiking ones on our website, and some aren't on our website, as I keep mentioning. So please let us know if you want to have other ones. So this is the cycling one, basically along some of the same route. So this is 8 days and 7 nights, and these, just like the previous one, go every day. So it's a matter of the timing of the year, of course. And the distances on the cycling one are for the hiking one, you're going, I'll review that, you're going maybe anywhere from 13 to 20 odd to about 20 kilometers a day. So it's not really the end of the world, and you're going your own pace, the same as any other self-guided tours. So this one here, which is I hope I'm not over talking this, but it's just nice to be able to sort of take your own time and do your own pace, which you can do with a self-guided tour. So the self-guided one, this one here along this Camino again, the distances here go up to anywhere from, I'm looking at this, 25 to 50 kilometers a day. So they're not really that long. It's 40% asphalt and 60% dirt roads. You saw this is dirt roads here. Some are narrow at times, but it's a great experience, and it's essential that these go daily from March the 1st to October 31st. So really, there's still opportunity to book this for this year, just like the hiking in the Camino is as well. So it goes roughly the same amount of time. I want to mention quickly a couple other things since I had this opportunity. The self-guided is really the best way to do things because you're doing your own pace and there's always a backup. William mentioned long stays in Algarve. We offer those as well. They're not on our website, but we have those as well. The other thing I'll mention is Madeira, and Madeira, which was mentioned, which is a beautiful, beautiful island with lots of things to see. And you only saw a little bit of a glimpse of what William showed us. We have that hiking as well as cycling. So it's really a wonderful way to get a taste of it. The Azores, which William mentioned, there's direct flights from Montreal and Toronto to Azores. It's a 5.5 hour flight, so it's not a long flight, and from there you can jump off and go from there to Lisbon. So yes, there is good cycling on Madeira. It is somewhat hilly, but the route that you have is the best route to do it. So it's not a difficult thing to do. As mentioned in here, there's lots and lots of things to see. I'll mention one last little thing too. William mentioned about the Portugal being open to the Brits. There's 22 plane loads going next Monday, or was it last Monday, to Portugal. So it's already started. It's a lot of people going to Portugal, and they're really pleased to see all those tourists coming from the UK. So that's what I'm mentioning, and I thank Judy for arranging and getting this all set up, and I would thank William Big for being here for us and helping out and showing some great opportunities to enjoy the Portugal and how wonderful it is. Thank you again. And any last words, Judy?
No, I just want to thank everyone for their time this evening, especially on such a beautiful day. If you have questions or you're looking for more tours, you'll find lots of stuff on the website. Like Manny said, if you're looking for something and you can't find it on the website, we love the challenge. We'll see if we can find it for you. Thanks again for joining us. Have a wonderful evening, and hopefully everyone gets out for a bike ride tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you. Love